right, so today is lesson 5, or chapter 5, lesson 1. This chapter is very long. Okay, there's 10 lessons in this chapter. Here's the good news. About 3/4 of it is review. Okay, about 3/4 of it is review. Most of the stuff you have done before. Some of the stuff when we get to the end, you really haven't. But by the time we get there, it'll be easy. Okay. So my plan is to do this. My plan is to learn new lessons all week and then probably take a quiz on Monday, because on Tuesday I don't really know if I'm going to see you a whole lot. I honestly don't know what the day looks like on Tuesday. No, next Tuesday, because we have math and we have an early out, hour early out. So I'm thinking some of our classes will be extremely short. So my goal is to learn lessons all this week and then take a quiz Monday and then let you go for break. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Staying home. We always stay around home. Oh, for Thanksgiving. Let's see. We'll go to Jordan's family, and yeah, that's good food. That's good food. Good food. Pumpkin bread. All right, here we go. So we're talking about ratios today, and your first vocabulary word is ratio. This should be somewhat of a review from last year. Actually, I noticed that in 7th grade we didn't have a lesson on ratios, but we had a lesson on rates. And ratios and rates are very similar. So ratio is comparing two different things. It's comparing maybe miles per hour. It's comparing maybe how much money you spend on cereal or an ounce. It's comparing how, I don't know, let's see, what's something else you compare? Feet per second, maybe how far you go in a second, or feet per minute, or something like that. That's what a ratio is, comparing two different things. And we talked about how it can be expressed in 3 different ways. It can be written, ratios and rates can be written in 3 different ways. Does anybody have a guess how one way it can be written? Kaylee? Yeah, it can be written in a fraction, like 3/4. What else? Logan? Okay, so like 3, 2, 4, like actually writing them out. Yep. What's the last way? Yep. Yep. Colons. Yep. So that's 3 different ways you can write a ratio. To me, I don't care which way you write them. Most of the time you're going to see them probably in the fraction format. But if you'd rather write them this way, I don't care if you write them this way. Just know that a lot of times from now on you're going to see them like this. Okay? Now remember, it's not a fraction. Remember, a fraction is like parts of a whole. Okay? But like when you're comparing 2 different things, like comparing boys and girls, this is like 3 girls to 4 boys. That's what this means. It doesn't mean 3 out of the 4 pieces. It means you have 3 boys or 3 girls to 4 boys. Okay? So it's not a fraction, but it can be written with this bar that looks like fraction form. Okay? So ratio is not a fraction. So let's talk about a picture. So if I show you this picture, and I'm going to say, write a ratio from shaded to non-shaded. What is the ratio from shaded to non? I don't know how you even spell that. Shaded, What's the ratio of shaded to non-shaded here, Harley? Can I reduce this? To what? 2 to 1. Anytime you can reduce a ratio, you need to do it. Okay, as small as possible. So, yep, my shaded to non-shaded is really 2 to 1. What about my ratio of non-shaded to the whole picture? Yep, so 2 to 6, which would be 1, 2, 3. Yep, very good. What about my ratio of, I don't know, shaded to the whole picture? 4 to 6? 2 to 3. Okay, is everybody understanding how to do this today? Okay, very good. They're also going to give you some scenarios. And this scenario might be this. Amy made 12 free throw attempts out of 15. If I was going to write this in a ratio, how would you write this in a ratio, Lauren? 12 out of 15? 15, which is 4 to 5. So Amy made 4 free throws out of her 15. Okay, is everybody understanding? Oh yeah, I mean 4 out of 5, whatever. You know what I mean? I just didn't reduce. Yep. So you're gonna reduce as far as possible, and I don't care. You could have written it like this, or yeah, 12 out of 15. You could have written it like this. I don't care how you write it. You choose which way you like the best. Hannah, you paying attention? All right, let's do this one then. 35 out of 50 Americans own a smartphone. Express this in a ratio in simplest terms. First of all, what's my ratio without even reducing? Lydia. Okay. Ooh, to 50. And you're going to reduce by what? 5. So 7 out of 10 Americans own a smartphone. I don't know if this is true. I just made it up. You think it's higher? It's probably higher than this. Yeah, there's a lot of older people. That's true. Never thought of that. A lot of older people don't have smartphones. Do you tell them about Facebook too? Oh my gosh. Grandma. Oh. Poor Mary. Was it Mary Ellen? Poor Mary Ellen. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yeah. What? That's bad. So she had it. It's kind of like when somebody asks you where their glasses are and they're on their head, like one of those things. You know, it's funny because a lot of those older people who need help with their phones, like you'll go ding 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 done, and they're like, "How did you do that?" And you're like, "Well, I first had to slide this. Yeah, you have to do it." And then, yeah, my grandparents would be like, "Oh, give me a note card, or just write it down." Like, okay, and then they never even look at the note card, and then they have you do it again for them. So funny. Hey, just so you know, you're all gonna be old someday. So remember this. What? Remember that. It's so funny. Last thing, Kaylee. Yeah, that's right. Um, yeah, I'm recording. I'm gonna tell Mary Ellen to tune in. All right. So, ready? Okay, so you know about ratios and rates a little bit, but we need to talk about if your ratio or your rate has units of measure associated with it. Okay, so this is going to be new to you. Some of you probably need to write some of these things down because you need to know the conversions. Okay, so you know 1 foot is 12 inches, right? Okay. But some of these you don't know. You maybe don't know off the top of your head how many quarts are in a gallon. You maybe don't know off the top of your head how many pints are in a quart. You maybe don't know off the top of your head how many ounces are in a pound. So if you don't know some of this stuff, please write them down because you're going to see them in your homework today. Okay? Yard is 3 feet, 1 foot is 12 inches, 1 yard is 36 inches. You might see some of these. Some of these you know. If you know them, you don't need to write them down. But if you need them, please make sure you write them in your notebook. Okay. So here's the deal. When you have ratios that have units of measure associated with them, feet, miles, inches, things like that, when you compare them, they have to be the same unit of measure. Like you can't compare feet and inches. They have to be all feet or all inches. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So like when some things it doesn't matter. Like we talked about baskets and smartphones and stuff like that. They don't have a unit of measure. You don't need to change them. But when they do have a unit of measure, things like this, feet, inches, miles, yards, pints, quarts, gallons, all that stuff, you have to make sure they're the same unit to be able to write them in a ratio. Okay, can I go to the next one? So for example, express the ratio 8 ounces to 3 pounds in a fraction in simplest form. Okay, so I have ounces and pounds. I either have to make it all pounds or all ounces. To me, the easiest thing would be made with the pounds and ounces. I would make the pounds into ounces is what I would do. So how would I take my pounds and make them into ounces? What would I need to do here, Virginia? Okay, so if you look in your conversions, 1 pound is 16 ounces. So let's make 3 pounds would be, so 16 times 3 would be 48 ounces, right? So now I can compare them. 8 ounces to 48 ounces, and I need to reduce. So I can reduce by 8 here, right? 1, 6, 1 ounce to 6 ounces. That is my answer then. If you would change this one to pounds, which it would be like 0.5 pounds, right? It'd be 0.5 pounds. Okay, now watch if I do that. 0.5 pounds to, what was it, 3 pounds? Here's the thing. I need to make sure that this is equal to 1. I have to have something with 1, or I have to have whole numbers in there, right? So let's make it a whole number. Can I multiply this by 2 to make it a whole number, which means 1? Can I multiply this by 2? Okay. See what happened there? Same thing, right? Does everybody understand how I did that? They understand why I changed this? You could have left it like this. That's fine. But look, what happens? It's going to be the same. Okay? So, to me, do the easiest thing. Don't divide anything. Multiply to make it easy. Do you know what I mean by multiply? Multiply 3 times 16 to make it easy for yourself. Let's do another example. Express the ratio 21 inches to 2 yards in simplest form. So, do I know how many inches are in a yard? 36, right? Let's figure out how many inches that is. 36 times 2, 72. I believe. 72. So I have 21 inches to 72 inches. I think this can be reduced by 3, I believe. So this would be 7, and 3 here, 21. No. Is it 24? 12. Yep, 24. Very good. 24 inches. Can I reduce any farther? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Then that's my answer. Okay? So make sure you're changing the unit measure. I'm just going to tell you right now, I know there's one like this on your test down the road, and I know everybody forgets to change it. I know they do. So please, if it's a unit of measure, you have to change it to the same unit. Okay? Let's see. Okay, let's do this one. Why don't you do this one by yourself? Express the ratio 4 quarts to 3 gallons in simplest form. I don't care which one you change. I don't care which one you change. Is it? Gosh, that was nice. Let's see. Probably did gallons to quarts. Well, 3, so how many quarts are in a gallon? 4. So 3 times 4 would be 12. So 4 quarts to 12 quarts would be 1 to 3. Yep, that's it. That's it.
Since the answer is 12 and then 4 times 3 is 12, you just take the 3 that's reduced already.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah. That's a good point. Here, listen to this. That's a hard way. Listen to this. How many quarts are in a gallon? So couldn't you do 1 gallon to 3 gallons? That's the opposite way. Right? Oh, well, we've got to take the hard way. It's the same thing, yeah. You could either do either way, Olivia. Olivia, you can do either way. But I'm just saying that's easier. 4 quarts is 1 gallon, so 1 gallon to 3 gallons. They're both gallons now. Yeah, sorry. All right, actually, that's all I have for you today.